in history was you guys losing to the Aussies at Six Invitational 2020 and of course getting knocked out of the tournament.
Nah.
And yeah, that was the start of the end of that G2. The only time ever.
That's hard to believe.
It's crazy. I will give some credit to this European Fnatic roster. At SI25 qualifiers in EU, they did win a map off of G2. But in stage 1, G2 won a pretty convincing 7-3 win over Fnatic. However, what everyone is talking about is this is a new look Fnatic, the team that has kind of been the laughingstock of Europe for such a long time, the big organization with the little result. Now they've got Croxon, he's firing up. There's something about having an Australian or a former, someone who's been in Australia on G2, on Fnatic, that just gives it a little bit of extra spice. He's back on the team. Fnatic is looking incredible, and if they win, they will jump above G2 into the very top, just below Falcons on the standings here in Europe.
To be fair, and you said about the Australian and G2 and you corrected yourself, there was that whole Virtue situation as well, so it does work for both rosters, to be fair.
Technically, yeah, it's true.
That's
very true.
It's always a good one.
I'm gonna forget about the fact that there was Jigsaw, an Australian, playing on Fnatic for a little while, and that did not pan out. So, yeah, the good old Australian. I think Virtue is the common denominator here. It's not about having an Australian on a team; it's about having Virtue on a team.
It's Virtue diff, to be honest.
Success.
5 seconds to insertion.
Anyhow, we're into it, and look, memes aside, I'm actually really excited for this week because it does feel like perhaps the first time in 5 years that Fnatic actually might potentially have a shot against G2.
That's exactly what it feels like. The last couple of stages, last couple of years, when you see Fnatic on a game day, you think, oh, how hard are they gonna throw this one? You know, are they gonna mess it up again? But this stage has been a very different look for them, and I'm quite excited for it. They're playing more decisively, confident, much more explosive, and it feels like they actually have a play style where all the players kind of agree that this is how they should play the game. Whereas before, I felt like there was 2 or 3 different ways the team wanted to play, perhaps. It looked like that from the outside, at least. And by G2, I mean, they got Stompin', that's exciting. They got the other G2 players, whoever they are, also kind of exciting, you know? And G2 is starting on defense. They're gonna play a nice passive util round. I actually really like this kind of, I was gonna say vanilla lineup, but it's really not because you got 2 DLC operators in there. But like Jaeger, Smoke, Mute, very stable, works for everything. Then some Clash in there, that's super annoying. And Asami to help fortify some of those strong player positions.
Blaz on the Clash, we talked about him in the pre-show.
So good.
He's a player that I think flies under the radar a lot of the time for G2. You know, he doesn't have the character that Doki or Alamau has that gets him a lot of attention. He doesn't have the stone cold fragging, you know, Brazilian flair that Loira has. He's not Stompin', who needs nearly no introduction, the American super rookie. But this Frenchman, Blaz, he is incredible and so in form right now.
He's grown into his own role in this team. It can be hard to find your spot amongst the stars, but Blaz is making a good name for himself in recent time, and here we see Fang's first push. EMP's below, fire goes through to force the catwalk position to fall on back. It's very reinforcing the pocket of G2, but they're not going to opt to use it actually on that catwalk wall. Instead, they're going to leave that pathway open for the attackers of Fnatic. But in a 5v5, what Fnatic need right now is explosiveness all around the building, right? They're mostly just catwalk and IT breach. I want to see some aqua attack. I want to see some meeting attack, because if they're all going to go through that same rotate, that same door, that's where Blast's Clash will just stop them instantaneously.
I got to admit, it was a very clean Rafters take, though. However, like you said, they haven't actually gotten a kill out of it, and they have to deal with Blaz. They no longer have the EMPs from Jegs because they used it on the ADSs. So I think G2 played into it well. They respected Fnatic on that clear, and they've peeled back into sight.
D-Big gets the first kill, though. Stompin' goes down, and here's the spread pressure. Bottom aqua stairs, top rafters as well, but they shut it down. A good smoke and a good swing from G2.
Oi! And Blaz still alive on the Clash. He swings for another one. My God, he is so in peak form right now. Wizard and Jegs now for Fnatic, and still the Clash's shield is up in position. Doki finds a pick, and Jegs has 4 players to find. Not going to find any of them. A very dominating round there by G2. Despite a pacey start from Fnatic and nice signs, they just could not crack into the site. G2 had too much of a fortress for them to crack into.
Yeah, I think both teams played that round quite smart, actually. I think the two biggest things for G2 that they did so well was the use of the Toxic Babes. First, they smoked off the exterior aqua door, and they held the staircase. And instead of just smoking the same thing over and over again, they actually opted to smoke the staircase and swing the guy on the door. Because it's an easier gunfight to take. Walking up the staircase is a lot more difficult than walking in that door. It's a lot slower, right? So they switched that play, get a kill. Really well done. Then, of course, they have Blast on the Clash. That's going to be fun to see throughout this game. And he was just really getting all the information in the middle of the bomb site, puts down the shield, sees the catwalk rotate, sees IT breach, and he killed the player that was backstepping from meeting. So that just means with those 2 kills on Aqua and the kill on the backside of meeting, the only attack is not from the front of catwalk. That's where the Sami barriers are, the Clash shield is watching, and there's literally no realistic way for Fnatic to make a play off of that. So G2 off the rip showed really good recognition of what's important and what's not.
Swapping mags!
Credit to Fnatic, they did find the opening pick even, but they couldn't convert it.
Deploying drone.
G2 looking good at the start of this game. And Blaz, I've said his name so many times, second highest rated player in the league, only behind Shaiko, who's the #1 player in the world right now across any of the Blastar 6 leagues. So it tells you a lot about how good Blaz is doing that he's the runner-up here from Europe. Now Croxon, he's the new addition to Fnatic, and he's been so good as well. He dominated Down Under when he was playing in the Oast League for Gaming Gladiators. Now he's here on Fnatic, and he's found the opening kill onto Doki. No more regenerating Kiva barriers. Loira is surely a dead man here.
So dead.
Spotted. And Sarks finishes him off as Jegs rolls on forward with the blitz. It's a 2-player advantage here for Fnatic at the start of this second round.
And just look at the pace. That was an out to Doki phone call. That only just went out. They're in the building. They're quick to the punches and playing well together. They're going to keep trying to isolate. They got red pings from 2 different defending players. A swing comes through. Stompin is so good. Wins his first. And shut down right after by Sarks caught in the rotation.
Yeah, this is what we need from Fnatic to just lock out those trades. Blaz, he's good, but he's not good enough for a 1v4. Sarks, a 3K on the round. And Fnatic reply very swiftly with a dominant round of their own after G2 start off strong. It all happened on that roam game, Pengu. Not a single fight happened on the site. And Fnatic, they were so quick and so decisive at clearing up those G2 roamers.
That's exactly it. Yes, they're in the building quickly. They're pushing back the roamers and they're finding them out with the blitz information and the box of destruction. But while they're doing the active roam clearing, the other 2 attackers are actually cutting off the rotations around the map. Whether it's from forklift window downstairs or holding bottom aqua from kitchen hallway, they're doing so many things at the same time. This is what this new Fnatic is doing so well. They're just not wasting these seconds doing nothing. They're always moving forward, pushing, doing something in the server. And the reason why I've been looking forward to this matchup of Fnatic versus G2 is because they're both very explosive teams. And it's going to give us some crazy rounds, sometimes down to the 1v1 crazy clutches, and sometimes in those really early aggressive roam clears, where whoever wins the gunfight, whoever plays better, they're going to win the round pretty early on. And that just hasn't been the story for Fnatic before. They've been more passive, more laid back, more let's try and play for plant or plant denial. G2, of course, they've scripted before, I'm sure, in the off-season and whatnot. They're going to be a little bit more familiar with this new Fnatic than we are as spectators because they know them better, right? They play them all the time, probably. But with that being said, I think Fnatic are going to be a team long-term that will continue to evolve and innovate their own playstyle and not just be a one-trick aggression pony team because they do still have Deepak, that OG rogue / Fnatic player, the only really core person left that's not a support staff member who can reel them back in and play more support-oriented if they need to.
That's exactly right. It's coming on the roster at Fnatic. No doubt, having mediocre results for the last couple of years, realistically since the Berlin Major in 2022. That's 3 years of mediocrity for Fnatic. They haven't really been able to attract top-tier talent to their team. Meanwhile, teams like G2 are picking up players like Loira and Stompin, even teams like BDS. They reform, they reshuffle, and they get big players like Virtue, world champions. And Fnatic, on the flip side, they pick up, Sarks, Jegs, Wizard, who really haven't had a lot of massive achievements. Deepak's the only one on this team that has a big achievement to his name. Croxon recently hot property because of how good he was down under. And so Fnatic are in the point where these players individually are proving themselves And with this new 5 roster, they might just do that. Sarks has had a great start here. And he takes down Stomp, and Doki also injured. G2 are falling apart, and Fnatic forcing down the plant. Alamount, a Nitro Cell might deny it, but how long will that last? He might get a second. For some reason, Jags is going to allow himself to be shot through the floor. I don't really know what's going on for Fnatic. They had such an advantage, and they're just tunnel visioning with so much time left on this plant.
Planted default, gets shut down by diffuser. Second guy starts planting below the holes the C4 created. That means it's just a bit of a blunder. When it's thought it was clear. Oh my god, he wins the conflict. Wow. Gets the clash shield. Croxon, alright. Fast ADS speed with that iron sight will speed things up. But in the 2v2, it's still tricky. Yes, there are no C4s from G2, but they have yellow ping information. And Blackbeard is pretty low in HP. A plant and a cover is possible though if G2 don't swing together.
Crocs has got to nail this. Blackbeard, the one to plant, low HP, no Nitro Cells available. Alamau has to sneak up, he's being watched, Wizard gets him. Where's the last player from G2? That's what Fnatic are wondering now. Loira loiters from one side and into the other, looking for his retake. He may be able to bait this. One tick, a second tick. Is Croxon going to get up in time? He's not going to be able to deny it! No way! Loira with a ninja defuse in the 1v2! G2 have just stolen that round from Fnatic!
How? Blackbeard jumps out the window, okay, fair game, realizes, hey, I didn't plan for the window, this isn't gonna work. Nomad was in garage by the breach really early on, doesn't go back inside. I see what the long-term vision was. Blackbeard run upstairs, have the verticality, but then you need to have Nomad step up and make sure that Ninja Defuse doesn't come through. I mean, the round is such a flip back and forth, right? Fnatic get open and kill, and they do that in a really beautiful way. Sarks used the smoke grenades top floor to bait out Stomp and playing the ward, to use the gadget and try to say, hey, I can see through the smoke, I can make a play. He gets completely red and countered. That opens round right here for Fnatic. Great opening. They get in. Candelas are flying. Deepak is planning default. C4 takes him down. And then Jax, big blunder, starts planting on the holes the C4 created. But then Croxon hit that nasty shot on the clash upstairs, and it's a 2v2. The bomb goes down. That's the round. And Blast, equally surprised as we are, how did that work? It shouldn't have.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah. I just think that round was already hilarious enough, and then we cut to the G2 player cams, and they do not give a shite. They're just like, you couldn't tell that they'd won the round. Barely reacting. Moira's just chuckling, you know, chewing his gum, whatever.
Immediately, dude. The second they won, I started typing. They just pressed that keyboard and started talking smack.
What did he say? I didn't see.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't see the in-game chat, but we saw his full-screen player cam, and he hopped on the keyboard the second the defuse came through.
I love it. I love how much smack we're seeing players talk in the old chat these days. Obviously, you got to keep it sportsmanlike. I think most players are doing that. But yeah, well, I see it in every region globally at the moment. And Fnatic have got to bounce back from that because this should be 2-1 up for them.
I was told in my ear that he typed, you have Blackbeard, dude, what are you doing? Which, to be fair, true and real. You also have Nomad, you have Vert, you had a drone, he had everything going for them. Croxon tries to mate the window barricade and almost suffers. All of his health just be completely gone from that simple action. That's gonna be a Deimos that can't quite go for intro kills any longer, and Fnatic starting on the back foot once more.
You really don't want to be fighting through the floor when you're low HP, and that's what Deimos is meant for. So what are Fnatic gonna do on this top floor attack? They looked pretty disappointing the first time they attacked it, but now they've got an early pick on Loira, aggressively peeking, I guess.
The timing,
surely not. Yeah, from Wizard, almost. The timing just off, but so close. I like the Nomad pick. I think that air jab, I think it's still alive, actually. You can see Fnatic are really reading into trying to suppress G2, right? Grim, Nomad, these operators that just restrict G2's movement and aggression.
Yeah, Airjab is still alive as well, so they're locking down this catwalk rotation, no aggressive swings, and I like what you pointed out. They're trying to weaken G2 in the 50-50 gunfights, making it not a 50-50, but more like a 70 in favor of Fnatic. They got opening pick. I would love to see Deimos maybe downstairs getting some vertical action. He is on the first floor of Lounge right now, so he could do it. There he is, here comes Croucher walking up. A flying drone Aqua stairs as well. Because when you have that catwalk opened up, that Fnatic is just breached. There's almost no safe haven on the bomb site, and Croxon does have that shotgun primary as well before we look at destruction.
What is this play here from Fnatic? You mentioned before how Alamal likes to hold on to the top of blue stairs and that exterior door with the smoke. Doki falls now. Blaz still on the clash, is holding the line here. Stompin will fall. Beautiful work from Croxon down below, and the fire from Jegs together. Alamal, meanwhile, has to abandon the top of the blue stairs and get back this side. SMG-11 in hand, he will fall. Blaz, the last one standing on the clash, but no shield to hide behind, and a flawless round for Fnatic to tie the score.
This is the exact kind of round I was referencing earlier when I was saying how they're not a one-dimensional team for Fnatic. They can still play, execute when they need to. I don't have access to voice comms, but I feel like that's a D-pick round right there, where he's playing the Thermite, he has the oversight, and he says, guys, I'm gonna breach the catwalk wall, we're gonna use counter fire on the drone hole on catwalk rafters, and get Croxon down below. They triple man up on the, I think it was Doki playing Asami on the PC screens, and they just make sure that he is gonna go down. It was that I was stumped, but I'm not entirely sure. Besides the point. That is Fnatic saying, hey, we don't need to take any actual gunfights this round. We can just use our gadgets, good information, and do 2v1, 3v1, and easily win this round. That is the new Fnatic. They can be explosive in the roam clear, they can execute correctly and not make those big mistakes, and they're actually quite good so far in this game at creating space by getting those opening picks.
And to think this would be 3-1 if Fnatic hadn't bundled that 2 versus 1 post plan.
Yep.
That's classic G2 though. Like G2 are gonna win those silly rounds, those clutch rounds.
Armor,
that's
dude.
the nature of them. It's plot armor.
It's plot armor. If there's
That
a
is
team,
so true.
Yo, if there's any team that has the most
God, I
plot
never thought
armor
of
in the
it like that.
history of Siege, it's gotta be G2 as an orc.
It is. I mean, yeah, for sure.
And the continuation of that roster. I mean, even you guys with the Penta EG, like that was plot armor through and through.
Pity invite, plot armor. Ooh, SI 2020. Fnatic's only victory.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, you're so right. I mean, even SI23, where G2 won the final SI in Montreal, after having like a really pitiful previous stage, you know, with Benja's first debut, that was also plot armor again.
Yep.
G2 sent to win those rounds. I mean, it failed them in EWC. They lost that grand final.
But they won the
Ironically,
one clutch. So they got the plot armor for that one round. There's a one-round plot armor, another one toilet plot armor.
Content team right here. Well, what can FNC do about the content here? Yeah, no, it's going to be denied. Jegs is going to take a hell of a lot of damage there, and Wizard realistically needs to find some capitalization on this. Starks, thankfully, will. Stompin's 1-5, by the way. Ooh, not what we expect from him. Wizard will eventually refrag onto Loira. Blaz re-peeks into the glass, though, and trades him on back. Jegs will fall. Plant down. Doki! Oh, Doki, go big! Croxon 1v3 finds the first. He's going to have to match Doki's own triple kill now. He's got plenty of time to do it. No diffuser to speak of, and this crossfire from Doki and Blaz looks impenetrable.
Has 2 flashbangs though. Can actually flash one, push the other. Has a call, but no time to use it. Oh, Doki swings out. This man is feeling it. You can say he's a short man, but a big player in this server. He completely saves G2 by swinging out and winning his ones. And all I was gonna say there, last Toxic Babe was spent just moments earlier. That could have been a blitz going for a default plant and almost no way to go for a counter. Doki saves G2.
4 kills on the round for him as well. I don't think either team is happy with how this game has gone so far. I mean, G2, holistically, G2 have looked like the worst team. You know, they won the 2v1 because Loira injured. That's not necessarily a good sign. And they won that round because Doki was an absolute hero right here playing at the tank. But Fnatic overall, they've had more convincing wins. They've looked a little more thorough. They've looked like they've had a better game plan. Like you said, I feel like G2's hinging on a little bit of cheese. You know, Blaz on the top floor in that first round on the Clash. In that round, it was Doki's Heroics, Loira's Ninja. Whereas Fnatic looked like the more well-rounded team.
Ready for company.
I love me some cheese
10
though.
seconds left.
IRL and in game, it's one of those. One of the things that keeps on giving.
5
You
seconds
know,
left.
it's not a
Attackers
cheese
must
round. You
locate
could
and
say they're playing
defuse the bomb.
kitchen, James. And
Yeah, that's wild, man.
need I remind you?
wild.
No, they play later actually. But you know, remind you what happened last time a team went to the 4th bomb site. It was the only attack and round victory that Wolves got against Mexico earlier on Lair. So the 4th
true,
bomb site doesn't tend to work out. Weapons and Auri.
No, yeah, you're right. That was not a pretty sight on Lair. Now, very few teams in the world like going to Kitchen on Night Heaven Labs. One team that I know that has just like loved it is that Thai team that Onigiri used to play for, Sapper's team. They're called Soul's Heart Esports at the moment.
Yep.
They, for some reason, love this bomb site, and they actually are really good at it. But very few other teams will dare take it here. Doki is lucky to be alive after dancing around that breach. And this is why it's so hard to defend this bomb site, Nick, because you just realistically cannot hold this area above the bomb site. You have to give it up. But I like the interpretation from G2. It's all about the pulse for information and the castle to try and change the architecture of that top floor.
It feels a lot like playing Archives, Tillers, and Bank, where like holding CEO top floor with it not being the bomb site also feels impossible. I mean, you lose the top floor, you lose the bomb site control shortly after. Blast goes down early, Doki's down as well, and this round is strategically, mechanically kind of just falling apart. It's one of those rounds where Fnatic now can just like wait it out. They got Ocean Shield, Cabins of Fire, they still got the majority of their tools in their pockets, and G2 are forced to swing, 1 man left standing, LML with pulls on the bomb site. And he's dead too.
He'll find one, but yeah, quickly taken out, and that is why you do not play the Quaternary bomb site on any of these maps.
Oh boy.
I just googled that, by the way, quaternary. I was like, what does, so we have primary, secondary, tertiary, what comes after that? Turns out it's quaternary. And we saw it not work on Lair for Matchco, and it certainly didn't work out for G2.
I do love me a 3-3-1/2 though, because it just tells the story that this is gonna be a banger game one way or another, and they're really going toe to toe. It's literally bouncing back and forth. G2 wins the first round, Fnatic the second, G2 the third round, Fnatic the fourth, back and forth all the way. Operator bans coming out. Blitz and the Kaid. The Kaid, I think, is the must ban here on Labs because if Kaid is open and 2-brow, you can't breach those walls. It's super annoying. Okay, you called it Blackbeard. You're wrong. It's Ace, actually. And
I was right about the Bandit.
Yeah. I love the Kai Bandit here specifically because now you can just guaranteed get every single wall opened up that you need to and not struggle on the first step of the round. That can be tricky maps like Clubhouse and Night Heaven Labs where heart destruction is a vital part of the attacking rounds. The Ace ban is one of those. I don't hate it, but I also quite never love it. And in Ranked specifically, it has like a 80-something% ban rate on console and 70% something ban rate on PC, I think. You can almost not play Ace these days. So if you're an Ace main, you're actually crying in the club. We gotta fix that.
Because Ace is the hard breach that has the best gun to a low
Best gun, easy gadget. So I think the fluidity and ease of use of Ace is so good. Where you play Bana, weapon swap, aim, shoot, reload, activate the button, then they start fizzling, and 20 seconds later, then the hatcher walk is opened up. Ace is like, chalk that, boom, 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 great gun.
Could you imagine what if Hibana's gadget was semi-automatic, so you didn't actually have to do that reload animation anymore? It just goes bang, 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 like you can shoot it as many times as you want, as quickly as you want. I feel like that would be a nice quality of life buff to Hibana, just to make her a little bit more in line with Ace.
It's small things like that I think, instead of like full-on operator reworks, there are a lot of operators that just benefit from a small quality of life update. Like, think about Sledge, right? Imagine you can equip the hammer like Sophia's gadget and go bonk, 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 bonk. Instead of going animation, weapon swap, hammer, boom, weapon swap again, hammer, boom.
You have to put it back on your back after every swing.
Yeah. If you can just equip the weapon and go bonk, 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 it doesn't make Sledge a better, stronger operator per se, just like more fluid, faster, and feels way better to play. That's Ace versus Hibana to me. Hibana's a great operator, but feels awful in comparison to Ace.
Yeah, we're gonna see it here in a second as well. After he shoots it, you have to go for that animation before you can even detonate it. Wow. Here's some geometrics from the Denaria Wizard, looking quite the magician at the moment. But the question is, a I don't know, trapezoid?
Okay, I was thinking trapezoid, but I'm not good at no maths, so I wasn't gonna say it.
I don't know.
Try to get through that.
Basically seen some kind of... hello. Speaking about angles and shapes, that was a nasty one from Alamau. Croxton has not had quite the impact that I was hoping to see out of him today.
Not exactly, no. Laura swings and misses completely back to in 4v4. Meanwhile, T2 to take Cal control, get some hard destruction done. But if you look at the utility, right? 2 Excaros left, only 2 flashbangs, only 1 kills of fire. When Fnatic wasn't, we just jump in the window, alright, no kills of fire at all.
Doki. Okay, very, very strange. I don't know why G2 thought that was clear, but now they're going to go deep. Stompin is in the objective and worried about a player down below. When can Alamau get inside and plant? That's the question. Sarks has the clash. He can reposition the shield. As Alamau is still outside, not in position to look for a plant yet, despite Stompin still being in that objective. Oh, Stompin's hunting for it. The nade and the spray together is perfect. Nitro Cell is far too late from Deepak. Jegs is also out of his. So now that's a retake scenario for Fnatic as Alamau is finally inside and finally looking for that plan. Out comes the Deagle, Blaz is better. And Stompin to find the final pick for G2.
It's a gap angle. They saw a gap on the bomb site saying, guys, only one guy is holding the entirety of like meeting, connector, and pillar. Everyone else either below or towards the aqua portion of the map. So Doki playing the capital, it looks like a really silly play at first because you're jumping the window, you're dying for nothing, but then you see what happens shortly after, right? Everyone's pushing in together, and it doesn't matter who dies that one gunfight because you're gonna get traded most likely, and then you get full bomb site control. A little bit awkward that Alamau had diffusers so far away, but they wait, they reset the round, so to speak, and just need to get Alamau over there for a plant attempt. It's successful, it's good. They had the read on C4 downstairs as well. G2 don't make any mistakes, and Doki was not trolling that round. He was being told what to do, followed through, and just did what he had to do to get that victory.
Yeah, classic G2. Individual players will find gaps and the team pounces. So Fnatic changing up bomb site. Basement is what's up. I'm seeing this Valkyrie pick again. When we were talking about operator bans earlier, Nick, you know, a lot of people on defense or with their defense bans when they're on the attack are really just going for the hard breach counter, the electricity. You know, Kaid Bandit is such a common one. And
Electro Bros, that's the term.
Electro Bros, I like
Electro Bros.
And the thing about that is it gives you so much flexibility in your lineups. You don't have to worry about Thatcher, Maverick, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it does feel sad to me because it means that we don't get to ban things like the Valkyrie, Kira, the Azami. You don't even get to go for any more cheeky pocket bans like a Mute, for example. It leaves so many options open to Fnatic.
It is one of those cases where a lot of other strong things are left open. Same if you ban like double heart breacher on the defender side, you get all like the shields, the glass, the Ying, the Grim, the Deimos, right? And it's a bit of a cat and mouse game of how flexible are you as a team and how many different quote-unquote cheese operators or power operators can you bring out onto the table, really? And I would say for both of these two rosters, they're pretty darn flexible, right? They can play fast, they can play slow. We just saw a bomb set rush with util in pocket. Now we're gonna see a Monty masterclass, hopefully from Alamau. Just gonna go nice and steady here in this one. Look for the roam clear, get the drone set up, and progress the map step by step. Whereas Fnatic, they played the blitz. They were fast in the building. They were going for kills. It's the same kind of roam clear, but one is fast and one is slow. But they want to achieve the same thing. Uh-oh.
Mal's about to find a kill, likely. Oh, hello, Sarks. Stompin should be able to cut this off. He tries, and Stompin finds both of the players on the stairs.
Okay.
That is perfect work from G2. The comms from Alamau, and the follow-up from the young gun. That's the Monty masterclass you were talking about.
I mean, that's excellent. That right there is actually a round-winning play. If things play out the way they're supposed to, Doki walks up the stairs, gets swung by Jax, still very winnable. No air taps to the flank necessarily, but still it's fine. Monty can keep taking space. If they do a little bit of work here on the Asami pillar position, then exit will be clear, and they can keep walking for a default plan attempt, or just pick all the kills.
It's on Loira, isn't it, to get to work on the third? No, Alamau, that's not how you play the Monty. It's a big risk to take. Stompin, though, thankfully, he's going to have a life round.
3 big kills. Wizard, the last one standing. He's got the diffuser. 1v2. But Loira and Doki, it's just so easy there for G2. Pushing incessantly. Stompin always happy to take a gunfight. Alamau always keen to feed him info. Finally, G2 steals ahead 2 rounds in the lead. Fnatic struggling to find any comfort on defense.
It's one of those rounds where strategically it was lost for Fnatic the second that Stomping got that 2-piece early on. They had to go for kills. I know people are gonna say, why are they just fighting a pillar like this and brawling it out? Because they had to. If they don't, what I was gonna say is gonna happen, right? Monty's gonna clear the pillar position. They're gonna use the last ram boogie drone to clear pillar. Then Monty can walk in default and they can just plant. Hold the verticality. It's such a hard gunfight to win. Fnatic are better off taking those 50-50 gunfights and brute forcing it on pillar and win or lose the round in that moment. G2, they say, will happily take that fight because they had numbers advantage, but that's where Fnatic can bait them into a bad decision. Had Fnatic, of course, won more of the gunfights, but they didn't. So, valiant effort, I think the right play for Fnatic, given what happened, but G2 right now, definitely in full charge, in full control.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's about here where G2 starts to run away from it. We were really hoping for this to be the first time in 5 years that Fnatic could hold a candle to G2, even if not, we're talking about the same caliber teams. Just, you know, get an upset win. It would be an upset for Fnatic to win this, but a plausible upset. We see a lot of upsets globally in these best of ones. Fnatic historically has really struggled to even find that against the top teams. But with how good their stage has been so far, we thought maybe it was possible. They do need to get back into it now. Don't secede. Match point here to G2.
Doorway secured.
Their own game is well and truly alive for these defenders as they peel back. They're going to have to face Alamau on that Monty as the shield marches towards them.
I'm curious here. I mean, should it's a fallback angle the second that this pit up? No, he's just dead. Stompin and Alamau right now are just in sync. It's like a hive mind. Alamau sees that here's a player, stumble a wallbang and go for the kill. It's beautiful again. And Fnatic, they're trying to min-max, right? Star's gonna stick around for as long as humanly possible, and because the door was barricaded, the wall was reinforced, he had no reason to feel like he was under threat, under fire. But that's where G2 are one step ahead. They know where he is, go for the wallbang. It works out perfectly, and again Fnatic slowly being pushed into acts of desperation as the round is kind of falling apart. They have 4 C4s in pocket. That's their current way to get back into this one. Get 1 or 2 C4 kills, and the round will be wide open once more.
That's why Wizard and Jegs are downstairs in the basement. Nitro Cells on Vert. Question is, where's the info? Starks is flicking them. There's a Valkyrie camera in storage, 1 in warehouse and 1 in control room. That should give them info on pretty much any plant spot, but we've also got Doki. He's gonna have to get to work with his scanner, find those Valk cams, strip away the info. And Fnatic, using that info, might be able to compete for a kill. Deepek needs to stay alive for as long as possible. He's being hunted.
Oh wow.
By Stompin. Deepek does find 1. And most critically, that's the IQ. So it's gonna be really challenging for G2 to find the rest of these Valkyrie cameras now.
It's a really big kill. I mean, going 1-for-1 there with a Deimos tracker and Monty looking at you and the third guy in the hallway is absolutely massive, and timer is ticking down, 35 seconds, but they still got those triple C4 threat from beneath. That can once again be the sole way to win here for Fnatic. The Monty is such a menace, but he's somewhat alone actually in that cargo hallway. No gun really behind him. G2, time is ticking.
Oh, big kill though. For Croxton to take one with him to the grave, that's what Fnatic needed. But G2 still have the numbers advantage. 1 C4 remains, it's for Jegs. As Stompin looks to track Wizard, he doesn't have info on Jegs. He's gonna have to take the fight, and he does! Plant's going down, Jegs is not in position to deny it. And the plant will be confirmed. 1v2 now, but that Monty is still alive. Blaz, he's gonna find the kill as well. G2 firing on all cylinders tonight. And Blaz is so happy with it, leaning back in his chair. It's match point for G2.
Nice and easy. I'm not entirely sure if I heard correctly in the middle of the round there. I think the C4 might have been shot mid-air by Blast. Where Anima was planting, the C4 has to go up through the beams and, you know, curve in the air and then land and take down the planter. And I heard like a little CBD sap sound in the 1 versus 3, and we saw Mirror with the C4 was indeed playing from below. So odds are Blast actually saved the round there completely single-handedly. Really, again, good look from D2. I really think the opening kills right now and building that early lead is single-handedly what is winning these rounds, because it makes the entire rest of the round that much easier. If that Tubero falls back, it's 5v5, they don't get a lead with that roam clear, it's going to be an entirely different situation for Fnatic, because they're going to have a different way of playing out that round because it's even numbers. So when G2 finds these picks, they're a dangerous team to look at. If Fnatic can play a bit more passive, fall back a little bit earlier, or swing first, that could truly change the story that's happening right now, because we've been bouncing back and forth in the first half, but ever since D2 went onto the attacking side, it's been a landslide for them.
Yeah, not a single defense won by Fnatic. And look, to their credit, they did lash out in that mid-round, Pengu. We saw quite a few 1-for-1 trades that Fnatic instigated. But the problem was they lost the opening pick, which means that 1-for-1s is always going to leave G2 ahead. And especially with that Monty, it means that it's so hard to lose that numbers advantage without trading a kill back. And that's what G2 are really using that Monty for to perfection. So tactical timeout called for Fnatic. It's going to be 3 rounds needed to push overtime. The G2 are looking really, really locked in. Stompin on the attacking side has been an entry menace.
It's funny because I think Stompin started this game like 1-3 and being kind of outplayed.
1-5.
Okay, sorry, 1-5. My bad. Even worse than I thought. And he's completely switched up since then. And yeah, sorry.
10 for 8 now.
Oh, 10 for 8. And I think it's all
so he's found nine kills till his last 3 deaths.
And it's all off, like not all off, but like it's really Alamau helping him get there. And it's feeling like, okay, Stumpman's a great player, we all know that. But right now he can't find his footing. I am with the Monty, I can make him work around me and just activate him individually. And now that Stumpman's really warmed up, finally the Monty gets banned, right? But now Stumpman can still play the game as he has been, just getting intro kills, getting aggressive, and Alamau can start flexing other operators, or take the role of Loira and make Loira be the lurker. Because now Loira finds himself onto the Nook, which makes a lot of sense because in the past we saw the Valkyrie come out quite frequently, and Nurk is a great counter for that. So G2 again showing flexibility in operator selection and who can play what roles on the roster, and this is also a large thanks due to Doki. Once being, let's say, a Deimos finger entry kind of guy, has been playing more supportive roles this game. He's still aggressive, he'll still get kills, and he'll still die, but he's been on capital duty the majority of these rounds.
Yeah, and this is feeling a lot more 4+1 for G2. You've got the triad of the Grim, Nomad, and Capital, which are all just such good displacement operators, such good locking, controlling the flow of where defenders can and can't go. And then, of course, the Thermite for Hard Breach, and then Loira here, lurking down below. The X factor for G2. He's not a vertical player. No, he's not playing Deimos. He's not playing Buck. He's looking to try and backstab where they're not expecting him sneak behind any cameras. Fnatic, though, they're leveraging this clash, and they, for the first time in this defensive half, don't have to deal with that Monty.
So who's gonna strike first with G2 now if Elmar can't walk in? Because that's the only awkward part about the Monty getting banned. It's a different gear you gotta shift into now. You can't just walk in like you own the place, because now people will be more vulnerable. You don't all have a massive shield in front of your face like Clash or Monty. The flashbang copper white is gonna give away the fact that Elmar's on the window, and he can't really use that Nomad air jab on the door like he wants to necessarily. 1 minute and 15 seconds left. G2, they're just waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing. Or perhaps for Fnatic to make a mistake and lash first, or they're holding those angles. Oh, Loira. That's the rat play that we're talking about.
G2 are patient. It allows Loira to rat his way into the rafters and find the opening kill. That's it. Croxon down.
Frag is out.
And now the rest of G2 can reset, consolidate their advantages, and make their way forward. This is where the dangerous triad comes into play.
Doki brings out the fire, but Wamai catches it. He doesn't realize, actually a player off to the left as well. He needs Alamau's support.
Triple ADS.
Not sure Alamau has any util to protect him, and you're right, that ADS, it's the Wamai Jaeger combo that we so rarely see in 2025. Fnatic are bringing it out, and it might just be the recipe to success, but not if Loira comes in for the lurk. Out comes the Deagle. Is he gonna win this fight? Stompin's gone big. Deepak's gonna fall. G2 are back, baby. And this is a fight to be remembered. We thought Fnatic could stand a chance, but there is no fury like the might of G2.